because this is the like secret.
Yeah.
This is everyone's secret. Everyone has a secret keep. But yeah, I mean, you can't run one secret keep on some other individual and expect to have a great outcome. It seems like the people that did the best had tons and tons of experience, and they probably ran through 4 or 5 different things to do before they figured it out. So everybody's going to have to do that. Everybody's going to have to learn how to condition.
A certain amount of randomness to it. But I hope to introduce them to the basic variables so that hopefully they will analyze what's going on in front of them in those various contexts, see if they find relevance in areas that need adjustment. All right, well, tell me when to begin.
First I wanted to give a very clear explanation before we go into strength and conditioning, that we're not promoting anything illegal. We're not trying to give you a keep for dog fighting. This is to put your dog in the best shape that it can be in for a dozen different things that you can do legally with your animals, from weight pulling to treadmill racing and wall climbs and all the way up to hunting with your dog. So if you're going to do any of those things, you owe it to your dog to have it in the best shape possible. It'd just be like if somebody threw you into a boxing ring and you were completely out of shape, you'd be a little bit aggravated at them if they put you in with a professional MMA fighter than if they put you in with another out of shape guy.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have to fight a hog in the wild, then you should be in the best shape possible. So that's the point, is to have your animals in the best shape you can have them in, whether it's for a dog show or whatever it's for.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of fun legal things to do with your animals.
Yep, I was going to try to say that. I'm not sure I'll say it as well as you said it, but and I was going to blend in with that the fact that these things apply to people as well, and that I expect to see evidence that our listeners have taken this stuff to heart, put it into application, and prove it to us at our 11th annual pig picking. Whenever they come to the dog show, I want to see fit guys, not fat guys, dogs and people. And I had something else I was going to work into that. That the nature of our dogs is to have the will to do whatever they do to the extreme. And you have to have a willing body in order to keep up with a willing mind. So it's up to the owner to arrange circumstances and provide opportunities for these dogs to reach levels of fitness that are commensurate with their mental will and drive.
Yeah. Yep, the pedigree's all there. It's all that gives you the framework to build on, but you can't just use a framework. You have to build something.
Yep.
You have to put your time and work into. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess we can start wherever you like. I mean, tonight I would like to talk about nutrition and rest and work cycles, different kinds of conditioning. I've already got this kind of laid out. Yeah, so if you'd like to go ahead and begin, we can go ahead and begin. I'll probably write down different questions I have throughout this.
Sure.
To touch in on.
If I've left things out, be happy for you to bring it to my attention to compel me to address it. Yeah.
All right, we'll take it away. Strength and conditioning.
Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of an introduction.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
First. Hi, it's good to be back with you folks again. I want to say thank you to our regular listeners and all the wonderful folks who have written to me, encouraging us to continue to do what we're doing. sharing information, useful information, with the fraternity, with all the fans of pit bulls that there are out there, is a pleasure. Anything that brings higher quality life to pit bulls and people who love pit bulls, I think it's a good way for me to spend my life. And so thank you for participating in this endeavor with us, and thank you for nicely encouraging us to continue. We are, again, very grateful for the level of response that we've received. We've had a number of people ask us about doing us an episode or two, and I'm not sure how many episodes it'll turn out to be, but we'll start into it and see how it goes, regarding conditioning. We all live in physical bodies, and there's no doubt that life exists on a higher plane whenever we are fit and healthy. And our self-esteem exists at a higher level. It's nice to get up in the morning and look in the mirror and say, well, hey, that workout yesterday really seems to have made a difference, and I like the trend that I see in my life. Not only that, but I have blood flow to my brain, and I actually have mental clarity, and there's all sorts of dividends that go along with being fit. That applies not only to us, but also to our dogs that we should hold in the highest esteem, and we should want them to have the highest quality life possible. These dogs are very strong-willed, and they want to do things that many life forms wouldn't attempt, but in order to be able to do the things that they want to do, they do require a certain amount of fitness. So, and they're healthier and more durable. So we're going to look at all different aspects of fitness in this session, and perhaps additional sessions, because it is a very complex intermingling of variables and issues. One thing I'm going to consult as I'm doing this is Volume 2 of the American Pit Bull Terrier Reference Library. This started out as a magazine. Was initially proposed by a friend of mine, Tim Murphy from Canada. He had the audacity to pass away less than 2 weeks before the first issue was to come out, and he really hadn't even started it other than having done an interview with me. So in his memory, I agreed to continue with it and took over the project, and ultimately I did 7 issues of the magazine. The magazine came out quarterly. One of them was dedicated to conditioning, as you see the conditioning issue. And one reason I mention this is this issue can be purchased if you need a written form of essentially what I'm going to say in this session to refer to. It's 20,000 words of the best information I could come up with regarding all aspects of physical conditioning. This is available. I'll give you a phone number to call. It'll cost you $35, which would be the least expensive keep and the best keep you've ever encountered. The number to call is 919-225-4761. So if you want your own copy of physical conditioning, it's available, and it will support what you will hear tonight. It's tonight is the time that I'm doing this. May not be the time that you're watching it. I'll start out just by reading the first paragraph. To be physically fit is a state of excellence that empowers one to be more physically capable, more alive, and have an enhanced sense of well-being and confidence. One can also expect to live longer through fitness. It is a condition that I would therefore desire for all living things. A fit world is a happier healthier, more satisfied world. Good, correct, general statement. This will be evaluated by a lot of people with a lot of preconceptions. We are not presenting a recipe for people to prepare dogs for dog fighting. That is not our intention at all. We hope to promote fitness in dogs to the end of doing legitimate, legal, healthy, moral activities. There are all sorts of activities that fall in this category. A lot of people hunt with their dogs. A dog facing a wild boar better be in shape or he's going to end up hurt. There are all sorts of dog shows that feature physical activities, physical competitions, conformation shows that reward physical fitness, treadmill races, wall climbs, just a lot of folks run with their dogs. Of course, that's an activity and a training session all into one, but there may be ways that you can do it better to get more benefit for your dog. We have our annual Bulldog Hill pig picking coming up last Saturday of July. This will be our 11th one. We always do it the last Saturday of July. I would be thrilled to see and hear from many of you that you have prepared your dogs for the conformation show using some things that you learned from this episode tonight. And feel free to apply these principles to yourself. It's perfectly fine for you to show up in a better condition as well. I think you will find over time as you see these principles work on your dogs that you will be more enthused about the possibility of adopting some of them yourself. So, having said that, I want to introduce you to a way of thinking, and this was my way of thinking as I created this. I call it thinking in an evolutionary context. There are many truths about dogs and about humans, if you choose to look in that direction, that can be gleaned by looking at how things happened with our animals, our dogs or wolves as they evolved. So if you look at the traditional patterns and rhythms of dogs and their ancestors, wolves, you will see things done in a certain way. And the reason they're done in that particular way is often because it's highly related to success as they hunt and success just in terms of survival. I call that thinking in an evolutionary context. The more you can do that, probably the more directly you will arrive at truths that you can continue to use throughout your study of the nature of your dog. One aspect of thinking in the evolutionary context, people ask often about, well, when's the best time to feed the dog? How many times a day should I feed my dog? Looking in an evolutionary setting, a wolf doesn't go out and do work for aesthetic reasons. The wolf only does work because he's hungry, and that work is running down a prey animal and dispatching of the prey animal, and then in a certain order will consume that animal. The frequency of work depends on the size of the animal. So you will see that there is a kind of an inverse relationship between how intense work sessions should be and how often they should be. So here you have a wolf running down and killing, say, a deer And the first thing he does is eat the stomach contents, then he'll eat some organ meat, and then onto the muscle meat. The reason he's going to the stomach contents first is to get pre-digested carbohydrates that have been reduced to glucose polymers, which will provide energy to allow the wolf to get his blood sugar back up so that he's not a victim waiting to happen. And there's many other high quality nutrients in tripe in the stomach. There are extremely high quality fats and proteins in the stomach, in its contents, but in the stomach itself. And lots of high quality proteins, vitamins, and minerals in liver and other organ meats. So there's a lot of truth to be gleaned just from observing that sequence. One is the dog or the wolf should be empty when they work. You can know your dog's empty by putting a little bit of canned corn in his food, and see how long it takes after he eats it with his food, how long it takes to come back out. When it comes out in his stool, if you measure the time from ingestion to the time to defecation, then you will have been able to establish how long it takes him to go through the digestive cycle. I prefer feeding once a day. That way, if you're going to work your dog, he's fully empty X number of hours after the one feeding. If you feed twice a day, he's never going to be empty. Or like if you're feeding twice a day, 12 hours apart, dividing the day up into 2 equal parts, yeah, he'll never be empty for work. So once you've established that, you'll know when it's the right time to work, which is after he's emptied. You'll know, how often. You'll know once you establish the work cycle at 24 hours, you'll be able to get into full-fledged workouts. At this point, I should interject something else, and that is, you'll look at different species of dogs or of animals from the dog family, and what their diet is, and how often they work, and how it results in a different kind of a body. A fox might be eating field mice, and he might have to hunt and eat 10 times a day to get enough calories. On the other hand, the wolf that is bringing down a deer might get enough nutrition from that one kill that he doesn't have to go after another one for a few days. So you have vastly different body types dialed in by different diets and different work-rest cycles. So all of this stuff is revealed by studying how the ancestors of the dog lived, and how they live, and how they operate, and what their natural rhythms are. So I'm not going to say a lot more about thinking in an evolutionary context, but that's something you should hold on to. It's part of your arsenal of tools to be able to ferret out truths regarding the nature of your dog, or dogs in general. So use that as a tool. Don't forget it. One other thing, another basic law that I will talk about that is vitally important, but is so often overlooked, is doing whenever you're training, do the same kind of work that you need to excel in whenever you are actually doing the event that you're training for. So, for example, looking to the human world, if you were going to be a marathon runner and you were going to be a competitive Olympic athlete, you wouldn't power lift. You wouldn't power lift to to prepare for a high level event. It would be counterproductive. Likewise, if you were preparing for a powerlifting event, you wouldn't put in 10-mile runs. These are vastly different activities, and you have to do the event, the activity that you're going to be tested on. A lot of guys will think that they can treadmill a dog and create fitness in areas that are generic and comprehensive. In reality, too much treadmill work does more harm than good. Dogs, if you focus all of their training activity on running, the various other abilities that they might have will diminish. Not only will they not hold their own, they will actually diminish. And I often hear people who try to keep their dogs fit complain about how after a couple of months of heavy treadmill work that their dog lacks other abilities that they were really hoping to increase. It's only common sense. This is not rocket science. This is not mystical. It's just common sense. If you were going to train for an event yourself, you'd get busy doing that thing itself. And I don't know why people create special pockets of doing things primarily based on myths from the past, whenever common sense tells you that it's just absolutely wrong.
Maybe they sell treadmills.
Got it. Very, very good point. Maybe they sell treadmills. Yeah. So I'm not saying that treadmill work is bad. Treadmill work, in initially establishing a base of fitness, treadmill work can be very useful in establishing just a base of fitness, as can strength work. Whenever we're trying to, I say we, this is more my yard manager Brad, whose voice out of the wilderness you hear from time to time. Whenever he's trying to help one of our dogs become more fit, he will have the dog drag some chains around a 1 mile loop, and it's very enlightening to watch the process. A dog that's treadmill fit, you would think would be able to do that without a lot of trouble, but not so. They struggle with that, and then once they've done it for a couple of weeks, like every couple of days, do that activity 1 or 2 times per session, they become a different animal. They go from really struggling with it to being quite adept at it, even that quickly. So if you're preparing to get a dog fit, plan to start out with some treadmill fitness, or running. Running is even better than treadmill in my opinion, but not everybody's situated, and not every dog has the nature to be able to take them out and let them run free. But if you are, and I know a lot of people who pull this off, partly by having a great relationship with the dog first so they don't run off. Running is wonderful. Treadmill work is very good, but and do the strength stuff alongside of it. And then once you've established a base of fitness that includes strength and endurance, then you can proceed to more highly specific addressing of muscle groups and activities. So that's how we will start this process. From here, it breaks down into having a comprehensive view of conditioning, breaks down into various directions. One of them is the building of strength and endurance, and that's through training methodology. Another one is feed. How do you feed so that you provide adequate fuel? Within that context, you have 4 different energy substrates that you can invoke, 4 different kinds of food that you can provide for the dog that will help fuel the dog. There's different foods in each one of those categories that have short-term, they have an onset of providing energy based on the kind of food that it is within that category of short-term to long-term. Each one of them has a different part of the energy cycle that they address. For example, carbohydrates, when stored in form of glycogen or fed in the form of glucose polymers, will provide immediate energy. The fats that don't even come into play for 20 to 30 minutes. But I'm not going fully into that right now. I'm just trying to lay out kind of an outline of how this has to be addressed. So the second thing that you address with foods after you address fueling and through the 4 energy substrates with at least 2 to 3 subtypes within each energy substrate is recovery. You got to feed for recovery. You got to provide the basic nutrients that are necessary for facilitating building of new tissue. And so yeah, it gets pretty complicated. I could do a whole session just on that, and we'll see how this goes. We may end up having a whole session on that. We have hormones. There's 2 completely different categories of hormones. You have catabolic and anabolic hormones. Catabolic hormones are like cortisol versus the anabolic hormones, which include testosterone, insulin. Estrogen is actually an anabolic hormone. It's a growth-based hormone, and so is growth hormone. They compel growth in one way or another. So you can see how complex it can get and will get, and how involved, and having this to refer back to, because each one of those categories is addressed in here. Along with some other tricks, there are ways of improving performance by improving the ability of blood to carry oxygen. You can combine various minerals together in a proprietary way to improve the ability of oxygen, to improve oxygen transport within a dog's body or in a person's body. I think we're going to start with the training methodology, and I think I'm going to bring my yard manager to talk about this particular aspect of conditioning. He has certifications in strength and conditioning is a climbing coach with national champions, various national championships on his resume. So I'm going to let Brad do this one, and then I'll come back and talk about some of the other aspects of conditioning. Now I'm just springing this on him, but he talks about this stuff all the time. He's well versed in it. So I'm going to get up and let you talk about the about training methodology and strength and conditioning. This is actually what kind of work you do to invoke the precise balance of strength to endurance, how you modulate work activities in relation to rest activities, and how to dial these things in, and the consequences of getting it wrong. So have at it, Brad, and I thank you for helping with this.